This program on NOTSTR8 TV is brought to you by Video Blocks. 7 days of free downloads, over 50,000 stock clips of video, backgrounds, music, and more. To get started, visit NOTSTR8.tv/video blocks. Sign up and get your 7 days of free downloads. NOTSTR8.tv/video blocks.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. A 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. Was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think he may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio, live from Hollywood, Florida, with your host and hostess, Mark Angelo and Jessica Lynn Cummings. Show for trans folks, by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard. And welcome back, and thank you for joining us for another edition of Transition Radio. We're so glad you were able to join us. Another week's gone by, and this is show number 8.
Yeah.
No, 7, actually.
No.
7. Show number 7.
Not 6?
No, it's 7.
Oh, it's 7.
It's
okay.
7.
All right.
6.5.
6.5. Yeah.
Because we're not quite done with this one yet. So.
Right, we're just starting.
So anyway, well, so ladies, have you checked out the breastformstore.com yet? They have everything you could want for your transgender and cross-dressing needs.
Transition Radio TV and the Breastform Store want to help you achieve the look you have always wanted but were not able to afford.
Send us your video telling us why you should be the winner of these beauties and how you would be able to promote their product and our show while showing off your girls.
The video should be less than 4 minutes. Keep it creative and keep it PG, please. Email your videos to transitionradioshow@gmail.com. Again, that's transitionradioshow@gmail.com. Well, today on our show, we have Angelica Ross, who prefers to go by Miss Ross. She considers herself a creative. Creativity is a very important part of her spiritual practice, and which goes hand in hand with her Buddhist beliefs. As a creative, she quotes, "I have the freedom to express my creativity through whatever instrument or tool I am called to at any given moment." She plays the piano, guitar, loves to write music, poetry, essays, and has a passion for speaking to large audiences.
Angelica enjoys photography and loves to combine it with Photoshop to create work of art that speaks out to a wider audience. In particular, messages of peace, courage, victory, transformation, challenge, and love.
Here again, it's my birthday and I decided to celebrate by launching MissRoss.com. It's very too often that just because we're on the outskirts of society or are not allowed into certain worship spaces that we're not spiritual. But we have a spirit that needs to be maintained. young, I thought that I was going to be some sort of pastor or preacher, or I used to carry around my Bible all the time and read the word and fast and sing in the church choir. Going to church for me was more of a show. It was like the best ticket in town. You would go to church on Sunday, the choir would be at its best, and the preacher would be at his best, or he better be, or else you were walking out. Found something a little bit more true for me. Something that didn't leave me wondering where my place was in this world, that didn't have me feeling like I was a bad person. And it started to open my mind up to this whole idea that there was just these bunch of lies that are going on in your head that you don't even own. They're words from other people, and there's stories from other people. My mother's outlook of what my life is supposed to be, my father's outlook, or my family, or society. We are trying to convey a message that our spirits are telling, that says, listen to my spirit, look at my spirit, and not my body, and the image that my body is giving you.
Now, please welcome to our show the beautiful Miss Ross.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, sweetie, how are you?
It's been a long time.
Wonderful, thank you.
It's been a long time since we've last seen. I think last time that we saw each other was at Bellamont, the movie.
Yes. Yes. I don't know how many years ago. Was that like 2 or 3 years ago?
Around that time. And we had originally met when you visited my business at the time, Bodies Under Construction. That you came by, and that's how we became acquainted and became friends.
So I'm glad we stayed in touch. I see that you've been doing great things. I see that you've met a beautiful woman as well, so congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you. See, now I'm blushing.
Yes. Does it really? Is it really true that blondes have more fun?
Don't know. I'm married.
Well, are you trying to say that married people don't have fun?
Well, I have a lot of fun with him.
I was about to say, okay, then. Wow.
I don't know if that statement holds true about the whole blonde thing now.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you for having me. And I didn't even, seeing that first opening video there, I haven't seen that in a while. So it's like I'm sitting here blushing as I'm watching the video because I recorded that video a year ago. It was, almost exactly a year ago. And I launched my website, NOTSTR8.com. And it was really me launching myself, this new confident me, out into the world that says, I'm going to take stock in my name. And that's what the whole Miss Ross thing is about, is like me feeling very confident in my name instead of trying to stand behind someone else's name.
That's how it should be, owning up to our truth, our frequency, our rhythm, and standing out there to help others do the same.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it was a great video, not to mention.
Yes, it was.
Thank you very much.
When I went hunting for videos, because that's what I do with all our guests, I try to see a video that really catches, and that one really called out to me. So that's why I used it.
Yeah, with explaining like kind of the things that I explained in there with the Buddhism, you know, it is just, I think being transgender is, what people miss about the whole experience is that it is a spiritual experience, and it's so easy to get caught up in the physical aspect because it's like we have our five senses, and you know, people are just fascinated by magic and by transformation and visual effects. You know, you watch any kind of movie, and if it has special effects and visual effects, people are just entranced and entertained. But a lot of times, all of that extra effects, it either takes away from, diminishes, or really just takes away light away from what's really happening underneath and what's really happening in the situation. And being trans is literally a spiritual, no matter what you think about it, is a spiritual journey, because you are conveying something that is not physical reality at that moment.
Exactly. And back in the old days when we were shamans and we were considered very high among the tribes, they didn't have all the surgeries, they didn't have all the hormones. People in the tribe knew that if you were too spirited, you were special. And they came to us for advice and for healings and for different things like that. Today, with all the modern stuff, the TV, the glamour, and the glitz, we tend to forget why we're here.
Yes. And
but you know, that's a good point that you make, because that is something that most of us suffer from, gay, straight, lesbian, whatever, is that, you know, we really have forgotten why we're here. A lot of people think it's just to somehow build up your life so that you have some great title, or that you have a stack of money, or that you have this family, or what have you. And yet all of these problems exist in the world. And it's so amazing to me, the money, the time, and the energy that is spent on things that have nothing to do with making this world a better place, and nothing to do with advancing us as humanity. And so the purpose, I think, for us as trans people, I think we're a reminder to humanity of our possibility, because a lot of times we look to nature, and that's the thing that is very easy to do. You can look to nature and be awed by a magnificent mountain, or awed by the depths of an ocean, or awed by the beauty or the smell of a flower, or awed by, you know, the beauty of a butterfly, and the transition of a butterfly from a caterpillar to a butterfly. But we tend to forget that our stems are in that same nature, in that same pool of possibility to be able to transform our lives in miraculous ways. And some people do that. You see people who have major disabilities, or you see people who have all kind of obstacles do amazing things with their lives. And that is the I think the essence of life, because there's so many different types of people. There's so many different people who are in different levels of life. So even if you are hooked on drugs, or you're an alcoholic, or you are whatever the deal is, wherever you are, the point of your life, none of your experiences are bad experiences, or you're a bad person, or you shouldn't experience this. It's about showing someone how to come from that point A to your next point B, whatever that is for you. You know what I mean?
It's all spiritual growth.
And I used to think of, you know, being transgendered, oh my God, this is such a curse. And, you know, I hate it. I don't know why I'm this way. Why am I so different? You know, everybody else seems normal. I seem out of place. And then as I started transitioning and everything like that, I really started to realize that this was actually more of a gift than it was ever a curse. And why I ever thought it a curse was only because of my fear that was instilled in me by society, my parents, and religious beliefs. So,
yeah, and in order to do great things, you have to rise to the challenge. And the deal is, like you say, being trans, you know, you think it's such a curse. But again, this is what's so beautiful to me about being trans, and about how connected it is to spirituality, is that is the lesson for everybody is that one thing that you think is the curse in your life is your blessing. And if you learn to have the right perspective about your life, that you can do amazing things. It's really incredible what happens when that light bulb comes on and it switches, and all of a sudden you're like, because I realized for myself, and I don't know, I always try to preface this to come across as the most humble way that I can come across saying this. But I always think to myself, what if I had given into the thoughts of depression and I had committed suicide? Or what if I had allowed the experiences of being transgender and dealing with certain men or family? What if I had allowed that to basically corrupt my heart, and that I carried with me today some bitter energy? You know, all of these things are like a death. And it's a death because I am not using my life for what it was meant to be used for. It's like getting something and not reading the instructions and using it as like a thing to hold your couch up, but it really is meant to, it's really meant to be totally different. You know what I mean? So if I had not risen to the challenge of my life, the people who have been inspired by the things that I do, you know, you don't know the effect that you're having on someone else's life, and you don't know who's watching. And it doesn't matter if they're trans or not, because I have people in my family or people that have known me who are not trans that get inspired because they say, wow, because they may look at me as being trans as being a crazy thing. You know, that's just, oh my God, that's some crazy, I can't imagine that kind of stuff. But wow, if she is driven, if she can make things happen, if she can have a heart full of compassion and love for people, even though she's been treated a certain way, I too can be a better person.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what I believe, that everyone in the LGBTQ community, we are here as gifts to teach our family members, to teach societies, and to teach our friends that you don't have to be perfect to love someone unconditionally. So we are a gift, I believe, to the world.
Yeah, you know what? Not even just that. You know, the gift is so much more specific, in the sense that it is so specific to each individual person. Like, say, for instance, for me, my being born into my family, I'm Buddhist, and so we believe that we believe a lot of crazy ideas that you know, other people would think are crazy, but it's such a blessing to have this perspective. But we believe that, you know, when I have awakened to the Buddhist perspective, I have now taken control of my life in the way that I have. I am changing my family's karma. The stuff that you know goes on from, let's just even go back to for me being African American, going back to slavery times, you have a spirit and an energy of a people that continues and continues, you know, and you know, some call it whatever. I'm going to say, let's say it's a karma, like that just keeps continuing, and there are certain cycles that need to be broken, and there is a slavery mentality, I believe, especially within my culture and my family, and within Christianity, there's a slavery mentality that really will not lead you, I feel, to be a free person, because it's not that the teaching doesn't have some gems in it, but it's just that people don't understand the social structures have really tainted a lot of the teachings. And so people don't realize how powerful they truly are. They think they need to go through a priest or through someone else, or, you know, through other things, instead of understanding that the source starts right here. There, you know, it doesn't go anywhere else. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing to me when people realize whatever you're going through.
Yeah, and definitely, like I've always said, the answer lies within us. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We're always looking out there, and it's all inside. Anyway, we're going to get started with our little Q&A.
I forgot we had questions. You mean we have questions?
Yeah, I know. It was such an amazing conversation. We need questions.
Tell us a little bit about your Zen studio and where did the idea come from?
Well, basically, my business is called, I tell people my government name is My Zen Studios, LLC. But, you know, I do business as Miss Ross. But what happened was when I was with my ex, who I was with for probably about 7 years, he wanted to start a photography business and wanted to take photos of like kids' sporting events, stuff like that, and some fashion. And of course, I knew how to do some photography, so I taught him some stuff. But he is the type of guy, he wanted to make a business in the sense of he wanted a bunch of photographers working for us instead of him actually working the system. So he ended up kind of quitting the business, not really being a part of the business or whatever. He just went on. And so all of a sudden I found myself with this business in my hands, you know, and it was actually, we named it Maizen Studios, spelled Maizen, Maizen, which is not a real word, but Kaizen, Kaizen, is a Japanese word that means continual growth. And so I said Maizen because I wanted it to, in my mind, signify my continual growth as a creative individual. And I ended up growing the company from just doing photography to doing web development, graphic design, photography, social media strategies, video editing, music production, basically everything creative.
Wow. You are techie, aren't you?
For Apple for a couple years. So, and while I worked for Apple in Santa Monica, I used to teach like either big groups of people would come in and I would teach, I'd had this big theater behind me and a headset and I'd teach people how to use the software or how to use the hardware. And then they'd also schedule one-on-one appointments and I would teach people. So I'm very, very, very techy.
That's awesome. See? Strong women. Gotta love it. Don't look at me like that. It does amaze me how many talented and creative transgender individuals there are in the world. What is your take on this?
You know, I think it's just that being trans, you know, you start from a place of spiritual creativity because you have to now create your life. You have to communicate to the world who you are to a world that is so kind of trapped in a visual thing. So I think we get very creative at how to express so many different things. We can express things through dance. We have girls like us that are wonderful dancers. You have, you know, I know of a few, you know, I know Candace Kane is a wonderful dancer. I know that Sasha Colby, when she performs, she's an amazing dancer. I know that there's a girl that's a hip hop, Sydney Starr, she's a hip hop dancer. You've got people who can be creative through music, through makeup. Some girls, their makeup jobs are insane. I mean, forget about people being fans of, you know, the gay makeup artists. Plus, wears the makeup every day, honey, and see how she will turn it out. So I think, again, that creativity is a fundamental part of our existence. And so that's why every one of us is creative because we have to be from the get-go.
Exactly. Well, because we kind of recreate ourselves in a lot of ways. I mean, we start out, you know, being born one way, but realizing, hey, the palette doesn't match the heart that was involved with it. And so it's like, okay, I got to change my palette. I got to recreate this to feel and imagine what I am inside.
Yeah, I think
I'll challenge that idea, though. Like, and I would like to challenge that idea for a lot of people in that Oprah says, and Mark, you said this earlier, that, you know, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Mm-hmm. And so to really, truly understand that, I think is to understand that us as transgender people, we are stepping out of the confinements of gender. Yes. And I believe that we are almost doing ourselves a disservice when we pop out of one label and confinement and jump into another one. It's like a spiritual, it's like a genie in a bottle. I mean, you watch this thing come out one and you're free. and you're able to, you know, be one with the universe, and then you jump right back into another confined label. So, you know, a lot of trans people who want to say, well, I'm a woman and I'm a real woman, and that's, you know, I was born and I'm a woman. Well, okay, and I respect that view that you have. However, I want to offer to you, you might be dimming down the reality of who you are, in the sense that there is more to you than that, in the sense that you weren't born with that specific chemical makeup. You were born with a specific chemical makeup that you do have. And that is wonderful, and that is special, and it does not need a label. Now, in this world where we're trying to get through and we're trying to negotiate position and all these different things with people, okay, play the game. You know, yes, the labels of the earthly human beings is male and female, and, you know, so this is what I closely, okay, so this is what to do. But know in your head, be someone that is above it all, to know that I am freeing myself to return to a spiritual being and to not be confined by the body. And that is why I always say to people, when you're transitioning, surgery is not necessary, because
exactly,
it is an addition to, you are free yourself from this body. All this other stuff, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love that I have breasts. I love that, you know, I can, you know, I love that I'm able to express my femininity in the physical form. But rest assured, I have gotten to a place spiritually where I know that those things don't define my womanhood.
Exactly.
And it's about, to me, I look at the yin and the yang, which is a balance of both male and female energy. And I truly believe that our creator, or our creators, if you want, the Elohims, we're both male and female. And I believe the evolution is becoming in tune with both our sides. And not just for transgender people, I believe for humanity in general. A masculine man that's so hyper-masculine cannot be happy, versus also a female who's hyper-feminine. It's about being able to balance both your sides, being that energy. You need both to be able to connect inside an electrical socket. You can't have one polarity without the other. And I think that's a lesson.
That's a good one. That's a aha, honey. That's a good one.
It's not even just transgendered individuals that do this. It's cisgendered people that go through this as well. You know, they go through, I got to have the big cosmetic made breasts. I got to look like a Barbie doll. You know, I need to fit into society's norm of looking like Pamela Anderson. And that's not true. You know, you are who you are, you get what you get, and you just do the best that you can with that.
This is just like a costume. We take this costume a little bit too serious. We need to focus what's inside, and that's why we're here on this earth, to learn how to do, or this dimension. We need to be able to get rid of our baggage so that we are able to evolve further. And there's going to be stuff thrown at us to, like, totally, oh, look at this and look at that, to keep us off track. And the whole concept is to be aligned.
I learned that lesson, you know, sort of in the hard way and in hindsight when I was in my relationship. And one thing I love about, you know, my ex relationship, I mean, the reality of probably the situation, I am kind of still in love with him, but, you know, I think I will always love him because of what he has given me and what I have given him, and the type of relationship that we have had. And what he has given me that I'm so grateful for is a clear reflection of who I am. And I say that because he frustrated me so much for the things that I felt like he lacked in his manhood, of whether it was making decisions or, you know, just being a certain kind of way. And I felt like I was the man in the relationship at times, being the stronger one and doing certain things. And being in that relationship, I realized that in order for me to be a complete person, I needed to not associate certain characteristics with gender, and just own the fact that I am a strong woman, and that it is not his fault that he is not, in my eyes, the strength that I feel that he should be, or up to my standards, or, you know, he is what he is, and to find the beauty in where he is. But to own being as strong as I am, and that if I want someone to be stronger, than to make that this choice to be with someone that is stronger, or accept the fact that in this relationship I am the stronger one, and it's okay for me as a woman to be the stronger one in the relationship. And I think many cisgender women probably struggle with that same thing.
Well, I agree, because I think that, you know, in relationships, it's a balance of both sides, not just gender. Like with Mark, you know, he's balanced. He knows who he is. He knows who he was. I'm balanced. I know who I was. I know who I am. And, you know, the whole concept of, I think that helps us get along much better because of the fact that
we complement
one another. You know, like I made a joke the other day. I was like, oh, there's a song and it feels like the first time, you know, it must be the woman in you that brings out the man in me.
And one of the things about this relationship and every relationship, they're teachers, you know, they're coming to your life to teach you something. But since I've been with Jessica, I've been more accepting of my female side, and I feel happier now than ever because I feel balanced. I don't have to walk around, oh, I'm a dude and all this stuff. I'm happy every now and then. I can find myself going one of these things, like, okay. And it's like, it feels good to be able to be in touch with both sides. Yes. So it feels good to let her dominate at times.
Exactly.
And vice versa.
I like that when you say, stop it.
Yeah. And there's no shame in that because that's part of what we're here to learn how to do, balance both our energies.
Well, you know, I'll get a little, not too explicit, but I'll get explicit to say that I think, you know, to take it a step further with being transgender, that there are a lot of men who are awakening to the nature of their bodies. And the fact that they have, you know, certain erogenous zones or what have you that, you know, if you tickle them, they might do something, you know. So the deal is, though, there are a lot of men who are not attracted sexually to men. They're heterosexual men. But the deal is that there needs to be, and this is a note for women, for cisgender women, there needs to be a safe space when it comes to intimacy. It's a fragile place for someone to open up, not only in their hearts, but their bodies and, you know, the insecurities of you may like this or not like this, or, you know, it's just so intimate. And in order to get the best results out of intimacy, you have to convey this is an open space. And in that open space, I think, like, there's men who like women to use strap-ons or, you know, on them or whatever the case is. But they want to be with women. They don't, you know, and so that's just, but there's this thing of them wanting to open up again to that side to say, you know what, I want to be vulnerable at this point, or I want to be submissive at this point, or passive, or I want, you know, to kind of, again, introduce that balance there. So girls like us, I believe,
have one up in the world.
Yeah, but it's only if you realize, because I think as a girl like us, many girls like me have been ashamed of, and I can't believe I'm even going this far into this conversation, but have been ashamed of our physical realities and our bodies, and we don't want people touching us there and that kind of thing, or what have you. And yet there's this population of men that are attracted to girls like us. So how do you resolve this kind of conundrum of having men that are attracted to you, which you want men that are attracted to you, but you are not at ease, or you're not at peace with your body and accepting all of what that is. So there was a period of time after, you know, when I became single, that I kind of just experimented and decided to explore and decide what I liked and didn't like. But it was in a way that I was able to now accept my body and where I'm at, you know. And again, when I'm able to afford and do other things and adjustments and alterations to my body, wonderful. And I would be so ecstatic when those days come. But I have committed to being a complete person now, regardless of what my physical status is.
You're complete the way you are. See, we think that we have to go chop up this, add on that, and it's like we are meant to be this way. And we're able to help other people become free with themselves, whether their minds and their genitals match. It's all about freedom. It's all about accepting what you have and enjoying it.
Because it shouldn't be a problem. That's the situation.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to risk your health.
All of these extra things that you do, it's not a problem. But the deal is that if you all of a sudden now have a life condition where your mental state, your spiritual state, your emotional state is so off because, I mean, I just have to solve this problem. I got to have transition because if I don't, my life won't be right. Then that is where there becomes a dysfunction within this, what they want to call a dysfunction, because this is not really a dysfunction. Being transgender is not a dysfunction. No. Dysfunction is when you don't understand and you are fighting your reality. That's the dysfunction.
Yeah,
exactly.
So you pretty much answered this question, but I'm going to ask it again. How do you feel about being transgender, and what does it mean to you?
Like the same, I feel Jess, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jess, Jessica, Jessie.
I didn't know what you want. Okay, so the same way that Jess says, I feel for the longest time I thought it was a curse being trans, and I hated it. And I actually just recently started taking hormone therapy because for the longest time in my life, I just was naturally a certain way, so I didn't have to think about a lot of things. And that really fed into my dysfunction of not accepting the reality of what I was and who I was, because I was so deep into my illusion of being a woman that the sight of taking a pill was a distraction to my whole reality. And I've seen even now as I try to take the hormone therapy, it's a stage to get past, because I now have an alarm that I set every morning that tells me, take a pill, take a pill. And when I take it, I'm now just claiming responsibility over my life, that I can live this life well if I'm balanced and taking my medication and doing certain things like that. Now I have a better outlook on that. But it's like the things that I do now. Even a couple weeks ago, I went to get a laser hair removal, which I have not had to do ever. Like, I'm 32 years old now, and now this is something that is now being introduced into my life. And so I broke down crying in the chair when I went to the laser place. I didn't tell anybody this, but yes, I was crying, number one, because of the pain. But secondly, I was crying because it was this, I just was thinking to myself, why do I have to go through this? And it just is a shock to my reality that, as a woman, to feel like, God, I have to go through this pain and anguish just to be who I am. But
exactly.
The beauty and reality of this experience and realizing who you are and what you are and why you're going through what you're going through is to understand how pain can be turned into medicine, how basically, and that is just everything, how pain can be turned into medicine, into beauty. It's a transformation. Like, we symbolize transformation, and that it's possible on all levels, that it's possible spiritually, it's possible emotionally, mentally, physically, beyond ways that you could even imagine. And that's the point of it all. So to be a part of a movement, to be a part of somebody that of a group of people that are conveying that kind of message, I feel like there's a huge sector of us that misunderstand their nature, that misunderstand what they're about and what we're here to do. And so I think that it is up to those of us who are starting to awaken and understand the purpose of being trans to rise up, to live our lives openly, and to continue to show other people, what this is about. This is more of a spiritual experience. We can have fun with everybody else, drink, hey, do this, hey, hook up, whatever it is your life is, whatever it is that you experience. But there is a higher calling and a higher purpose to this.
Exactly. And that's why we started this show, because we feel that, the world hearing our voices, and they see it's going to bring us all into a different light. In the LGBT community and the general societal community, no matter what, we're getting what's that word I'm looking for? Blah moment.
Getting to show our true colors, to show who
we're bringing
awareness
about who we are, and we're breaking the stereotypes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the gist of it. Which brings me to my question for you: was what has been your most memorable moment since your transition?
I have to say my most memorable moment since my transition.
This is a tough one.
It is a tough one. It is a tough one. You know, for me, I really have to say, like, my most memorable, unfortunately, my most memorable moments, I think, are the beginning stages with my family. And I say unfortunately because it's unfortunate, but it's also fortunate. I remember the harsh things, you know, I do. I mean, it's hard. I hate saying this sometimes and going to interviews and talking about this because, you know, me and my mother, my family, we've moved past all this. We've moved past a lot of this. But, you know, I do think about it a lot when we were in those bad times. And, but the reason why I think about it a lot and it's so memorable to me is because of where our lives are now. And it's so amazing to me to think about how far we've come. And that I thought to myself that never. I told my friend Tracy, I was like, she told me, girl, your mom's going to come around eventually. And I'm like, no, you don't know my mom. She's an evangelist. She's a Christian. This is just not going to happen. And I, in my heart, I know my heart had hardened. And I told myself at that point, you're just going to have to live without family. And so I know even to this day, I'm a little bit of like, you know, even when someone goes to hug or embrace me, I know that there's a little bit of something there, like with my family and stuff, where I'm a little, you know, it almost stings a little bit, but it is a beauty. And that's why I say we have to continue, never give up. You know, it will get better. You never give up on this life because it's a process. It's a process that you have to go through, and it's a process that your family has to go through, and you have to see it through. The only way, you know, they say there's a famous saying, like something like the only way, you know, through something is through it, not around it. You know, you have to actually go through it. So just hang in there, go through the situations, and those memories that were so bad, that were so awful, they end up turning into memories of awe because you're just so amazed at how far things have grown.
Definitely. Yeah. And I tell her that all the time because she has issues with her family. And I used to in the beginning. And I always tell her, give your mom time, give your family time. It's a process. You know, you've got to look at both sides. And
they're not coming
when you get out, when you come off of all this, you finally go, wow, you know, and it's an amazing thing. And that's, I always tell her, you are your mother's biggest gift. She may not know it at the time, but you're teaching her unconditional love.
But, you know, here's the deal. You're not teaching it if you take the situation in the relationship, and let's say it's a bad relationship with your family, and let's say your family's evil or they have bad things to say about you, or all they do is whatever. And if you swallow that poison and allow it to kind of circulate within your life, your home, your work, your business, your career, you carry it in your heart, my family, they're just this or that or whatever the case is. And you may not think that out loud, but a lot of people don't understand that it's manifesting in their situation. If you are able, the best way to get past that is to blossom. Do you, and blossom into the best you possible. Be beautiful. And the way that you be beautiful, you know, yes, you can learn some makeup techniques or whatever, but be the type of beautiful that's from the inside out. And they will be inspired by your life because you're transforming yourself and their karma. You're transforming yourself from a place of confusion or, you know, frustration. In the beginning, we all know where it starts out at. So we're starting from that place and we're doing something beautiful with all the struggle, the suffering, the everything. If you make that journey beautiful, that's what changes them. That's what changes them.
Exactly.
That's life in general. And, you know, I always said that basically transitioning is going to be a gamble. You know, you got to be willing to put it all on the table, risk everything, go big. And, you know, when you do and you finally sit there and you realize, you say, okay, I'm willing to lose everything. And this is more important to me to become one with myself and be me. Then I'm going to put it all on the table, and whatever the outcome, so be it. Hopefully it works out to be better than what the initial outcome probably would have been.
Yes, that is the spirit I think we all have.
And as long as we come from a place of love, a place of heart, that's everything will just follow through.
Exactly.
You have a quote on your Facebook page which was very inspirational to me. The quote reads, "What we do does not define who we are. What defines us is how well we rise after falling." Can you elaborate on this and tell us why you chose to use it on your Facebook?
Yeah, it's funny that you would get such an inspirational quote from a Jennifer Lopez movie, but that's what happened. Basically, that quote is from Made in Manhattan, and you know, there is a point where she gets fired after all the drama of, you know, trying to play her life up and her situation up higher than what I guess really was the situation. And so, you know, now she's fired and she's got to start over. And the guy said that quote, you know, what defines us is not, you know, and I forget what the quote is. Let
me go. What we do does not define who we are. What defines us is how well we rise after falling.
Yeah. And it's because that is what defines us is character. That's what people really miss, and that it's so funny. People put on all this air and perception about things, and then they miss the opportunity, because the opportunity happens in life at that moment. You have an opportunity at this moment to show your character. When you are introduced with someone who is suffering, with someone that is in pain, with someone who is hungry, with someone who is someone that you should look up to or listen to or get some knowledge from, in that moment, you have an option to show who you are and what you're about and your character. So it doesn't matter whether you've been an escort, whether you sold drugs, whether you've done whatever you've done. What matters is the journey. Like, what did you do with your life? What did you do? How did you work the scenarios? Like, I always tell people, like, if you're stripping or dancing or escorting or doing whatever you're doing, are you doing that and then going out and buying a pair of shoes, you know, and spending it all out, and then now you have nothing to show for it at the end of the day? Or are you using whatever is your life circumstance? Don't beat yourself up about whatever your life circumstance is. Use it to your advantage. So be that type of person that's, you know, play the game that you're in. And if you want out of the game, get out of the game. Play your way out of the game. If you want to stay in the game, that's your prerogative. But our purpose here is to grow. So if you want to get on the growing train, take advantage of your opportunity of where you're at and grow out to the next situation and see what life has for you in the next chapter.
Definitely. Exactly. Well, here is a video that we feel says it all. We are a gender evolution where man and woman become one. Let's take a look at the video.
Trapped in illusions, labels, and fairy tales. I had to wake up, time to figure out who I wake up. Time to figure out who I realized I had to wake up. Time to figure out who I wake up. Trapped in the thought of me, that I cannot truly be who I am. Don't you think it's time to let it go out on the table?
Absolutely amazing.
To me, that said everything. Gender evolution, man and woman becoming one, no more labels.
Yes.
You know, and I think that is the shift that we're seeing on our planet that we're living on. The entire universe is, you know, it's becoming one. No more separation, becoming one. No more you, me, it's us, it's we.
Exactly.
It's, I get
angelicness,
yeah,
angelicness,
yeah.
androgyny,
Yeah.
and everything in between is just so fascinating. And I believe, and we both believe the same thing, that we as transgendered individuals are very angelic, and we're here with a message. And
the
that message,
separation that you talk about, you know, I think the separation is natural because there's naturally so many variances between, you know, just different type of people that we don't need labels to define that difference. It's like you can obviously see this person is, you know, has a beautiful cocoa chocolate skin tone, and you know that person has a bright skin or a blonde, beautiful blue eye. I mean, you see the differences. Why does it need to have a label to it? You know, whether it's woman or female, it is what it is. Why do you need to call it? You know, you basically diminish something the moment you put a label on something. You diminish the quality of what it is because you now think you know what it is instead of experiencing what it is.
We disrespect it. You know, human beings were so used to labeling things. That's a tree, that's an orange. And instead of just accepting things for the essence of what is without adding words or label.
Correct. Yeah.
Totally.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Is there anyone special in your life? And what are the qualities you seek in a certain individual?
No, there is no one special in my life. It is super hard to... Let me tell you something. It is super hard to rise to the challenge of your life and to date. Because what I mean by that is because people will challenge you, and they will, relationships, a lot of things, because people want what's easy when it comes to relationships and sex and what have you. And a lot of people don't want to work for, you know, having true relationships or whatever. So it's, for me, I focus all my energy on my business, on Mizen Studios, on, you know, Miss Ross, on my writing, on my music. And I decided, funny enough, is, you know, I was feeling super lonely to be honest, like for a long time, because I just... I don't know. I was so used to being in the relationship that I was in, and I got comfortable, and it was such a long time that it was such a shock to my system not being in a relationship, and it shook me for a very, very long time, years. But I decided that the special someone in my life would be me, and that I would fall in love with myself all over again. And what I mean by that is, with me playing piano or the way that I like to be compassionate towards certain people, I love the way that I am. I love the way that I love. And so when I can see myself through the eyes of love, I am basically hoping in return that the man that is for me will be able to see me through the same eyes, because I'm setting that up. You understand? I see myself that way. And I think that has a lot to do with dating. It's how you see yourself. And I know that through different stages of my life, I've had the experiences that I've had because of how I saw myself. And they continue to improve because of how I can, you know, see myself differently. But there is no one now. I am dating, but I typically date usually older guys, because they typically have solved a lot of their issues with dating trans women. But also at this moment too, you know, I just prefer dating older guys because I at this moment can't raise a man. I just can't. I'm a strong woman, and I need somebody who is also going to be strong, and I need somebody who is going to be financially. The reality of the situation, and I think trans women need to really just own the reality of the situation. You know, you should be with someone who, if you're going to be in a relationship, you should be with someone who's financially stable, just because it is financially hard. This lifestyle is financially hard, and I don't need to be with somebody that's going to distract from that situation. You know, I got to pay rent, I got to pay bills, I got to do this and the things that come along with transition. So don't invite a situation in that is going to be detrimental to your transition. Be with someone that is going to help you reach where you want to get to, whether that's both spiritually, physically, mentally, everything. Find a partner. That's what I'm looking for, is a partner.
Did you pat me on the thing because I'm an older man? Is that what you're...
No, not at all.
We are 10 years apart, but...
Yes, we are. And, you know, I agree with that as far as the age thing, because older guys are... they have less hang-ups as far as with us individually, because they already have had everything. We're an experience for them in a lot of ways. I mean, I can't say that for him, but
I'm transgender too.
He's transgender too, so that kind of throws that out the window. But on that note, you know, I mean,
you know what's so funny about your relationship is that I've actually, and I guess I'm just going to ask you guys because I have no clue, but I've always thought that there is something to it. I'm not saying that it's a must, but I think there's something to the relationship between a, you know, male to female trans person and a female to male trans person, in that there's so much experience and knowledge and wisdom and physical reality that seems like it makes that combination a really powerful one. Is that what you experience?
Yes.
This to me has been the most amazing relationship that I've ever had, and it's just, I've learned, I've taught with, and it's just amazing. Sex-wise, spiritual-wise, emotional-wise,
Intimacy.
intimate, just the most amazing.
I was the one with all the hang-ups when we first got together. I was like, you know, didn't like using it, let's say. Okay, not to get in too much detail here, but basically, you know, my whole life I dated. Yeah, exactly. I dated, you know, women most of my life, and you know, I did my experimenting with men and stuff like that, and it just didn't seem right until I actually transitioned. Then that's when I really started, you know, realizing that, you know, not to place gender on anything, but that men were what I was into. And then I met him, and it's like, oh my God, I've been doing this my whole life, and I have no idea where to start. You know, it's like, we get intimate, I become all thumbs. What the hell just happened?
But it's funny.
But it's the process of you discovering one another and like being intimate. I mean, it doesn't matter what the details are. That's the whole thing. It doesn't matter the details. It's that two people are exploring and are sharing, and you know, that's amazing.
And that's what's happened. We have grown dramatically in the bed, emotionally, and everything. It's just like two kids learning how to be, doing it together. And it's just, we have, you know, we've had our rough patches, but we've overworked those. And it's just, right now, I believe we're in the most amazing part of our life. We're getting ready to move to our new home.
Yes.
That's awesome.
It's just...
And the most amazing thing is that, you know, which I thought initially in the beginning, which I was battling with, the fact that, you know, it was going to make me feel like less of a woman to be with him, and it was going to make him feel like less of a man to be with me. And that was my biggest fear through the whole thing. But then after everything ended up, you know, it just like everything fell into place, and it was like, holy cow, this is like the most amazing man that I have ever.
I think you find a natural balance between the two of you, and that's what all couples need to do, is find this kind of natural balance that allows the other person a moment to switch it up, in the sense, you know, to like, okay, you know, I know I'm the man of this relationship, but I'm scared too, you know, or that, you know, to be able to have the space for those emotions. You know, but for me, like, I'm comfortable being a strong woman. I'm comfortable being that, you know, playing that role. But my main role in the life of Miss Ross is definitely, you know, a boss in my career. But I want to be that soft place for my man, you know, to lay claim to, in the sense that, you know, a man, especially that's hyper masculine, that has these things, you know, my femininity can be that cure, you know, to that day, in the sense I want to be that softness of his day. I want to introduce that. I want to, and I want him to, you know, bring his masculinity on over my way. You know, I love it. It's like It's like a drug, you know, testosterone. Woo!
But the balance is, to me, and this is the first time I've ever felt this. It's like the woman that I used to be has come out again and is in love with the man that Jessica used to be, and vice versa. Sometimes we always say there's a foursome in this household. There's four of us.
No, well, the first time we got intimate, that's what I asked.
No, but even in our daily routine, you know, it's amazing. It's like completeness, and I believe that's what you know we're all heading to. Not just transgender.
Exactly. What you just said just set a bomb off in my head, because that just sounded really, that was really deep. And I'm probably going to be thinking about that even after the interview, because there's something there that you just said that just let a bomb off in my head. But yeah, good stuff.
Well, we definitely got to talk after the interview.
Yes.
So you're very talented, and out of all your talents, what brings you the most happiness and gratitude?
Playing the piano, music. It's always been music from day one. The church choirs, everything. When I learned that music was a spiritual gift, I believe it's a spiritual gift. It's music is in the wind. It's in the way that the leaves rustle across the ground. You know, it's a gift to be able to hear that in the subtleness of all life. You know, to hear the music in it. So I believe that, you know, there are times I can't wait in my life. I pray to the day that I am living and have a grand piano in my house, because I have this digital piano, but anytime I get to a piano or can sit down and I play my heart out, and it's this like private moment that never seems to happen on camera. You know, if I try to set up a camera to capture it, it will definitely not happen. But I'll sit down at the piano and I will basically pour my heart out. And I'm not trying to play any song in particular. I'll just start at one note. And it's the journey from one note to the next. And that is like, it's this understanding when you become one with life and music, or again, like being a Buddhist, like for me, it just gives me this perspective of life and everything, to understand and see how everything is connected. When I talk about music and I create songs and I create a musical composition on the piano, it's a relationship of coming from one note to the next, you know, and how you transition, whether you transition softly or sharply or hard, or it's a beautiful life. It's a beautiful music is the purpose, I think, of it all, is to make it beautiful.
Are we noticing the irony and a link here? Music has transitions. The world has a transition.
Yeah,
people go through transitions.
And it's all part of the message. And music is frequency. Yes. And it's the highest frequency. And once you tap into that, it's healing. It's just amazing. I mean,
you got chords. Like chords means it's not just one note. Sometimes you have to work in order to make something really beautiful with a couple notes, you know.
Exactly. Unison, that's what it's all about. There's so many messages, hidden messages, that if we remove the veil, it all just comes to you.
Yep, exactly.
What is on your agenda for the new year, and how can our viewers get a hold of you?
All right. Well, you know, coming up in 2013, I'm basically exploding. Business has been incredible. So I've basically, you know, I have a team of people that work for me. I have an assistant. I have a graphic designer, a web programmer, and now I'm next week interviewing a group of interns from UW Milwaukee. Like a personal assistant intern, graphic design interns, what have you. But I'm also, there's some things that haven't been announced yet, but I'll be a celebrity blogger with a specific website that'll be coming up soon. I'll announce that. And then, you know, there's just my music, the movie, The Heart of a Woman. You know, we're still working on that because different people have come onto the project now that weren't on it before. So some really big names, you know, so I can't really talk about that right now either, but there's just a lot of stuff in 2013 that is coming up. Mostly what I think for 2013 that I am so, it's in the clutches of my fists. I swear to you, I am motivated. I am ready to go, because I believe that as a trans community, we have pointed fingers a lot. at, you know, the gays and lesbians for the dirty stuff that they've done to our community, you know, as far as moving forward and the HRC. And there's just been a lot of things where we have not been considered the way that we should be considered as a community. But with every power in my being, I am going to live by example and also create programming, hopefully through the Chicago Center on Halsted and through some other organizations here in Milwaukee. But Miss Ross is going to be developing this program about becoming your own boss. And that is wherever you are in your life. I don't care if you're on the street corner or if you are in a corporate environment. Becoming a boss in your life and stop blaming other people about what is not in your life and learning how to manifest the things that you want to appear in your life. So for me, I think as a community, we need to own our community. We need to take our community back, and we need to say, you know what, if we're looking for someone to bring us to the next level, let it come from within.
And connecting with one another. Stop blaming. We're all in it together. And, you know, the separation is the illusion. We have to just bring ourselves together again, forgive ourselves, forgive others, love unconditionally. And that we will finally see what we've been wanting to see.
And it's all about education. It's all about teaching, because, you know, a lot of people outside the trans community don't know exactly what we deal with and go through on a regular basis and how hard we've had it, you know.
But everybody's had it hard.
But
we can't play the violin of life.
Right,
oh,
exactly.
Poor me.
Well, I wasn't done.
Okay.
God, just like a man, always.
Well, you know what, though, Jess, though, seriously, I'm so glad, Mark, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that for me was the biggest aha moment of my entire life, is that I realized, and this was with the Buddhism, when I realized it was so easy for me to explain my story of being kicked out of the Navy and almost killed there, and my mom disowned me, and saying these other things. And it's so easy for people to say, oh my God, that's so terrible. And it can be such an extreme situation. But what I realized, the biggest gift I realized, is that my pain is no different than anyone else's pain. It is no more valid. Exactly. It is no more important than anyone else's. And so instead of playing my violin, what am I going to do with my pain? And showing people, again, that this is just my option, my choice. I'm deciding not to be a bitter B.I. You know what? I'm deciding.
You can say that, right, Joe?
Can I say that?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go right ahead.
Yeah, we're on the internet.
Yeah, it's the internet.
Bitch. And I'm deciding not to be a victim in my life. I'm deciding to take control of my life, and that's just what it's about.
Exactly, and that's what I did. That's what Mark did. And, you know, I didn't blame anybody for me being where I was at, and I never expected anybody's pity for me going through what I went through. But I do know where I've been, and I knew what it took to get to where I am. And so I can only preach that to others that are in the beginning stages or looking to try to move forward in transition, and maybe help them with the experiences that I've dealt with. So, you know, and I believe that educates, and it helps people realize and learn.
Yeah, not to be bitter, not to have hatred and fear. It's just, you know, experience every moment of your life, good, bad, or indifferent. It's all there for a reason. And the sooner we do that, the sooner we will rise up.
Exactly.
And heal, because it's all about healing.
Yeah, so stay tuned to MissRoss.com, MISSROSS.com. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening this next year, I promise you. I don't know how I'm doing it all. Some days, I got to be honest with you, I'm not really getting a lot of sleep, but that's because I am so freaking driven. But I am now committed to telling myself, you have to take care of the vessel. You have to take care of your body, because if I'm not around to be able to do all these things that my heart wants to do, then, you know, what good am I? So, you know, eating healthy, doing my yoga, doing things like that to make sure that I am strong and ready to take on every opportunity that comes my way.
Exactly.
This has been an amazing interview.
Yes, it
and
has.
Thank you so much for sharing this hour with us. I think we've probably gone a little bit over an hour, but that's okay. It's all good.
Yes.
And
thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Angelica, and we'll have to be guests on your Blog Talk radio show.
One day,
yes, definitely. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. So just like ABC and NBC and all that, they take breaks. I'm taking the leisure to be able to take that break before going into the new year and preparing the content, the guests, everything that's about to come up for this next year.
Excellent.
Okay. Well,
keep in touch, girl.
Yes, definitely.
We'll talk soon.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, everyone, for tuning in for another wonderful episode. We want to thank our sponsor once again, the breastformstore.com. And please go ahead and visit their website and tell them Transition Radio Show or Transition Radio TV.
Television.
And radio and all that good stuff send you.
And they don't just have breast forms. They have wigs, makeup, it's
lingerie.
The total toy store for all of us CD transgender individuals. And they got some really great stuff. And the owner is a really great individual.
We'll be taking off next week. We will not have a show from next week, not on the Tuesday or the Thursday or Sunday, because we are moving to our new home, which we are so very excited about.
And
a bigger place. We live in this little studio, and it's like cramped. Luckily, we love each other.
I know, exactly.
See,
we gotta.
There we go.
Like this all the time.
All the time. But it's great, and we're ecstatic.
Been down to put socks on in the bathroom and bang your head on the wall.
Yeah, it's like pretty bad, but we've managed.
It's bad.
We manage. Again, it's all the experience. That's what we're here to do and grow. So we'll be off for a week, but still you could go to our website and watch some reruns, and the shows are on demand.
On demand.
So don't miss us too much. But remember, guys, we love you, but remember to love yourselves too. I'm ending the show with one of my performances at a gay pride that I performed a few years ago. It's called I Believe in Us. So roll them away.
Have a good night.
And boogie with this challenge here. Here we go. Let us unite, my brothers. Let us not fight, my sisters. Find a better way. Let's show the world it's our place. Don't rely on the grace. What we've done can be changed. Let's unite, find a better way. Together we can climb the highest mountain. I could only get us to where we are. Believe in us today and on tomorrow. Brighten up the darkest of the day. Don't give up, don't go or give in. It doesn't matter, no, the color of your skin. Who you are, who you love. It's not a choice, no, not even a sin. Together we can find the highest mountain. I could only get us where we are. Believe in us today and on tomorrow. Brighten up the darkest of the day. Let's join hands, come on, and create, come on, a new language, one without hate. Different words, different phrase. Listen, brothers and sisters, we are all the same. Together we can climb the highest mountain. I could only get us where we are. I'll believe in us today and on tomorrow. Brighten up the darkest of the day. Let us unite, my sisters. Let us not fight, my brothers. Oh, the sign of better way. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We are what we've been waiting for. Hallelujah. Come on. Hallelujah. We are what we've been waiting for. Let's do this together. Come on, family. Hallelujah down. Hallelujah. Come on. Hallelujah. You are what we've been waiting for. Oh, yeah. Come on, party people. Let's make this together. Oh, yeah. What we've been waiting for. Oh, yeah. I said, I believe in you. Do you believe in me? Let's do this together, my family.